market update. There's several things in the news. I mean, we're in a very blah period right now for gold and silver. We're right at the time where it usually accelerates around the 1st of October. But several questions have come in. I want to just kind of go over them. There's so much talk out there in the marketplace about certain things happening. And certainly I hear the same rumors. Some of them I can get some verification on, some I can't. Let's start with the Libertad, which is the silver coin in Mexico. There's no question that Mexico would like to be the first country since the early 70s to have a legal tender coin that could be used within the banking system. Their Congress and Senate have talked about it at length and are still in discussions of it. So certainly nothing has happened yet. But just think if you carried around a 1 ounce silver coin, and I say it was in dollars instead of pesos, and that would go from $19 to $19.50 to $20. So when you took that silver coin in the bank, you would get the $20 that you may have paid $18 for, and you can use it to spend. Because the one thing I'm sure of from my recent trip to Europe for 2 weeks, and all my sources here, is we're going to enter an inflationary period that's going to start accelerating in not the too distant future. So if this Libertad thing happens, it puts the rest of the world in things, because people then would buy Libertad silver, which is limited production compared to, say, Silver Eagles or Silver Maple Leafs or Silver Philharmonics. So we're watching that. We'll keep you posted, but certainly that is a very positive thing for silver if that were to happen. The other thing we've been talking about is the Chinese devaluation. There's writers out there saying that China will devalue their currency 15 or 20% by the end of the year, and then they will start cashing in their U.S. treasuries that's over $2 trillion. I think it's 2.25 or something like that, or maybe 1.25 trillion. And then what it would do to the U.S. market, because now we see China talking about converting the yuan to gold to take over the petrol currency world. I sent out an email this week by Salinas Price, one of the most brilliant investor minds in the world, and someone I'm fortunate enough to communicate with and share ideas with. And he's an amazing guy, but he puts down 13,000 potential for gold, and people write like, is this guy for real? And certainly he is for real. His track record certainly proves it, and he does live in Mexico, and he's on top of what's going on with the Libertad. But yeah, the China absolutely is not going to go many more months without wrecking the U.S. And they're going to wreck them by taking control of the petrodollar. And they can do that through many different ways. And I can't tell you it's going to be a combination of what, but I can tell you to get ready. And then there's the U.S. gold rumor out there that I've had numerous people that subscribe to certain people's newsletters and services that are saying that Trump sits ready to peg the price of gold at $5,000 to $10,000 per ounce as soon as China makes this move, because he realizes it's going to happen. Once again, I certainly have no inside information or verification, but certainly it would make sense that the 2 or 3% of Americans that own gold would make a free fall profit if gold were to go to 5,000 or 10,000 an ounce and be pegged. Certainly that would happen. Then it brings in the question, do we really have the gold in Fort Knox? We see that the Treasury Secretary has recently visited there, but certainly he didn't tell us what he saw or didn't see. So that rumor out there I can't verify, but it would make perfect sense if that were to happen. We've also had questions about What's wrong with the dollar? Why is the stock market going up and the dollar is down 8% for the year? And as I've said many times, gold should be up about 50%, not 11 or 12% for the year like it is, based on what's happened with the dollar. But I can tell you, being in Europe for 2 weeks, people didn't want the dollar. The almighty dollar, they said, we want a credit card or euro payment. We don't want your cash in dollars because it's depreciating so fast. I've told many people from the 14 months when I was there in June of 16 until August of 17, the dollar had gone down 17% against the euro in 1 year, a little over a year. And yet, if you ask an American, most would say, oh no, the dollar is the almighty currency. And then certainly the deal that Trump just made with the Democrats is huge bad news for the dollar. To raise the debt ceiling $1.25 trillion, 25% more than Obama ever raised it. And this is money being printed and created out of thin air with nothing to back it. How can you not have higher inflation? How can you not have higher interest rates unless you go into a recession, depression? How can you not have a falling dollar? And we're going to continue to see that. And I've spent most of my time since I got back on consulting jobs with money managers and financial planning companies trying to figure out what's going on. All I can tell you is anybody who doesn't have a healthy percentage in gold and silver is making a big mistake. I'm telling you, it's going to happen, and it's not in the too distant future. You're going to see some big news. Last two questions. Do I think JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs will keep shorting gold and silver as they did Friday before last? And the answer is, I don't know. But our people in Asia say it's very close to the end. This is one thing you got to remember. These same companies have been shorting gold and silver for 4 or 5 years and keeping the lid on it were the same ones that were going long from 2000 to 2012. What you've seen is JP Morgan collect a massive amount of physical silver and probably gold too, and Goldman Sachs the same thing. And now they want the physical market to go up, so they now go in and play the long in the futures market, and they make money on gold and silver going up in the futures market, as well as a free fall on the physical metal they're holding. So the question is, well, when will they go neutral? And then when they go neutral, how long will it be before they go long, as they did for 12 years when gold went up 12 straight years? Unprecedented investment history. But when they go long this time, it'll probably be for 3 to 5 years, and you'll see some very big prices. But once again, our sources believe that time is very, very close to when these companies quit shorting the market, because it won't work anymore. And then it brings to the last question that I literally was on the phone this morning talking about the development of cryptocurrencies backed by precious metals. There seems to be at least 3 under development that say they'll be in the marketplace by the end of the first quarter. And this will be cryptocurrencies, not fiat cryptocurrencies like are out there now. You know, Bitcoin has had a huge success, but it's a fiat cryptocurrency. There's nothing to back it except a chip. It's nothing except the company and the chip or the crypto coin. So what you're looking at now is the development of cryptocurrency that's going to change the world finances. That's going to be backed by gold and silver. There's already a real estate when it's hit the market that buys real estate in 5 of the biggest real estate areas in the world, and they'll keep buying real estate as money pours into the cryptocurrency, so they never have any risk about inflation or devaluations of currencies because they're backed by real estate. And now they're under development to be backed by gold and silver. But before that, you'll probably see a cryptocurrency put out by money center banks that they'll back with the dollar or the euro. How's that different than what we have now? It'll just be a different form, and they'll say it's going to be insured by the currency. But that's what we have now. The FDIC is backing, but it has very little assets to back the deposits in the federal banking system. So just watch for the development, and remember, when just when there is a cryptocurrency and they have to buy tons of gold to back it, you that are holding physical gold either in your hands or in one of our warehouse deals that we've made the lowest storage rates in the world, that you need to call us about. If you're interested in storing, we can store it for you now in 5 different countries. And certainly we're getting a lot of calls from all over the world, people praising what we've done through integrity and not trying to make a markup on you on storing stuff. We make it on our small commissions up front, and then you pay. We've negotiated the lowest rate for you, and I'll take no markup on the annual storage, which you'll find very few companies in the world that do that. They all want to take a markup on that. So anyway, and if you have a self-directed IRA, you can roll it over into a self-directed precious metals IRA. So you can give us a call. We can discuss how we can help you get a custodian and be your broker and representative in these trades. But we'll continue to stay on top of these markets that are changing, and I can guarantee you, there's one thing I guarantee you, a year from now, the landscape of the world financial system will look nothing like it does today. The cryptocurrencies, what's going on with the Federal Reserve trying to sell off their balance sheet and put the pressure back on the Treasury, is all going our way for precious metals. Our phone number is 800-247-2812. 800-247-2812. And Dan, Kathleen, or I would be happy to talk to you about any of these things we discussed today. With this week's Precious Metals Market Update, this is Tom Cloud signing out.